Welcome back to Market Headlines. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani projects that until next year, the government debt burden will continue to increase in line with the amount of state spending for economic recovery programs. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani Indrawati stated that the COVID-19 pandemic has also increased the ratio of government debt to gross domestic product. She projects that until this year, for the next year, the debt burden will continue to increase in line with the large state spending for the economic recovery program. The government would also ensure the debt risk mitigation is carried out by keeping the debt ratio within a controllable limit. For next year, the government will set a debt ratio of 43.76% to 44.28% of the GDP. In addition, she continued that the government will deepen the domestic market so that the cost of funds from debt issuance is more competitive and efficient. The government also encouraged the innovative financing by developing PPP schemes. Meanwhile, the state budget deficit is also estimated to be above 3% in 2022, considering that the government spending on social protections is still quite large. However, Sri Mulyani said that the government continues to make policy improvements by gradually consolidating fiscal. IDX Channel reported. The COVID-19 pandemic had also increased the ratio of government debt. This happens because relying on state revenues such as taxes will not meet the needs of the state spending, as well as efforts to restore the national economy. The increase in the debt ratio was also distributed by the issuance of government bonds. And so far is the realizations for states financing? Let's discuss it in the following infographics. Through your screen, we can see the realizations of state budget financing. So here it is, the issuance of government bonds as of April 2021 reaching 416.7 trillion rupiah, and this means 34.52% of the target. Meanwhile, as of April 2021, the investment financing worth 19.6 trillion rupiah. In the other hand, as of April 2021, purchase of government bonds by Bank Indonesia reached 108.43 trillion rupiah, which is diverted into conventional bond and sukuk. And the next one is, as of April 2021, loans reached 317.77 trillion rupiah. And the realizations of debt financing from January to April 2021 is 410.1 trillion rupiah, or 34.83% of the target. And this figure grew by 80.83% compared to the period of January to April 2020, worth around 226.8 trillion rupiah. Finance Minister Sri Mulyani said that the debt financing came from the withdrawal of a new debt through the issuance of the state bonds reaching 416.7 trillion rupiah, or equivalent to 34.52% of the target of 1,207.3 trillion rupiah. The government said that it would continue to issue bonds this year. And however, at the same time, the issuance of government bonds is also faced with a number of macroeconomic and financing risks. So what are the risks? Let's take a look in the next graphic. To your screen, we can see the financing and macroeconomic risk in 2021, which is elaborated by Directorate General of Financing and Risk Management, Ministry of Finance. First thing first, we can see the faster economic recovery in the United States. And we talk about geopolitical tensions over the potential continuations of the tariff war. And then from Asia, we got Myanmar crisis and the risk of delaying AstraZeneca vaccines by some countries, especially India, which has the highest rate of COVID-19 cases in the world, and potential increase in U.S. Treasury yield. And the debt financing is intended to cover the state budget deficit in line with efforts to accelerate the economic recovery. The budget deficit this year is estimated at 5.7% of gross domestic product. And previously, the Finance Ministry targeted the total debt withdrawal in the second quarter of 2021 to reach around 323.4 trillion rupiah. This amount consists of government bonds amounting to 194.6 trillion rupiah, with emphasis on the issuance through the auctions, issuance of the summary bonds, and private placements carried out with special purposes. Then the issuance of debt through state Sharia securities amounting to 108.4 trillion rupiah through auctions, and the issuance of foreign currency sukuk. And not only about increasing debt, the issuance of government bonds is also aimed at increasing the Sharia domestic investors, and one of which through retail government bonds. So how is the issuance calendar this year so far? Let's check it out in the next graphic. So mark the date, we can see the government retail bond issuance calendar in 2021. First of all, which is, we got it in January 25th, 2021, we got retail obligations of ORI 019. And then moving on to June this month, by 21st, 2021, but it's still tentative stated by the Ministry of Finance, we got saving bond retail of SBR 010, and then moving on in September 2021, but it's still tentative stated by Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance will issue retail obligations ORI 020. And the characteristic of retail government bond is that they are minimal risk and provide higher yields than deposits, and are considered suitable for novice debt investors who are new to the capital market. And the retail government bonds offer regular yields with a fixed amount, and they can even go up if the coupons offered are floating, but cannot go down because there's usually floor or lower limit. It would be better if people who had just entered the capital market learned to invest in the stages and starting with the low or medium risk instruments and then trying to high risk instruments. And not only conventional, the government also provides Sharia-based bonds instruments. So let's check it out at the next issuance calendar on the next graphic. Here it is, we can see government retail sukuk issuance in calendar year of 2021. First of all, in February 2021, Ministry of Finance issued retail obligations of SR 014. And then, Ministry of Finance has also issued sukuk wafak retail for SWR 002 in April 1st, 2021. Meanwhile, for the upcoming retail bond, we got retail obligations of 015 that Ministry of Finance will issue by August 2021, precisely on August 27th. And then there will be upcoming sukuk tabungan ST008 that will be issued by November 1st, 2021. And yes, in order to encourage an increase in domestic investors, the government continuously issues retail bonds, both conventional and also Sharia. And for retail sukuk, the government has completed offering one series, namely SR14 on February 26, 2021. And through SR14, the government managed to record sales of 16.7 trillion rupiah. And yes, viewers, even though the issuance of the bonds has the effect of increasing the burden of the government debt, but on the other hand, through retail government bonds, the government also continues to strive to increase the share of ownership of domestic investors. Stay tuned with us because market headlines will be right back after this quick break.